We are live. Welcome everyone to Sweetcast. We have got some breaking news here. Our friend Peter Simeti of Alterna Comics. It sounds like at the end of his stream, he was the victim of swatting. So we're learning about this at the same time as probably you all are. But I've got with me Luke and Tug.
Hi, Sweetcast.
Hey
Welcome.
there.
Thanks for coming, guys. Really short notice.
I mean,
Were
I saw
you
this
on that stream? Yeah.
We're always on Twitter, so we're always ready.
Yeah.
Well, Simeti just posted this 6 minutes ago. He said, I just had 2 guns pointed at me tonight because someone made a call to the police and gave them my address along with a falsified report. I'm shook up, but everything is okay now. I'm going to talk to the police tomorrow and see if I can find out more.
Wow. Man, who would do this? I've got a few guesses. This is the consequences of like all the heated up rhetoric, especially around Alterna Comics, which is entirely misplaced. But there are real life consequences for getting people fired up like that. I mean,
well, it's going to get worse. We need to prepare for this because, we're going back into the second season now of sales, obviously for CG Comics, and they're going to start foaming at the mouth. This is going to become on the regular.
Man, this worries me because live streaming is such a big part of Comicsgate too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if swatting, if they're going to resort to swatting, that's
it's not surprising though. I mean, these are horrible human beings. Of course, if they did this, like somebody put in a call, like the issue with that is like getting away with it, actually being able to get away with it because I mean, you leave a data imprint,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, people can find out who you are. And we've heard, from Gamergate, and people are trying so hard to make Comicsgate Gamergate. But yeah, I mean, I've heard of several cases surrounding Gamergate of swatting, and most recently, I don't know if, the most recent swatting incident I heard of, somebody's dog was actually killed.
Oh yeah, that was with the Ian Miles Chung thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, he called. That was crazy with the Andy Worski stuff. Man, he basically called. Now Worski was in Canada, so the Canadian police don't come in guns blazing, thank goodness. But he called and said, this guy has multiple guns. He has a history of schizophrenia. He makes crazy threats, and he has like cocaine or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, that sounds like someone trying to get someone killed. That's what that is.
Right. Well, when they come to the door under a certain assumption that a woman is in danger and could be possibly assaulted, then they're coming in prepared, obviously.
Wow.
Thankfully, Peter, is very of sound mind and calm. So when the police come to the door and they're looking for someone who's out of his mind, so to speak, why else would you come to SWAT, right? There's people there who are out of control. And you open the door and there's Peter. He's like, hey, how's it going?
Right. Well, it's hard because I've heard of scenarios. This wasn't long ago. I wish I could remember the report, but if they come in with flashbangs at night, I've heard of them throwing a flashbang in a crib with a sleeping child.
But they have to have some sort of alert to be able to do that. They arrive at a situation and it has to look, firstly, they have to ascertain the reality of the situation beyond the fact that, because swatting's happening a lot now. So they realize it might be one way, but it could very well be the other way. And again, if they open the door and they're greeted by Peter, they're going to, they might look at it and go, this might be nothing.
This is, I'm going to screen share here. Oh, hello, Caffeinated Comics. Welcome. Or comic books, sorry.
How do we get to that point, though? Like societally, where, it's okay not only to try to dox people and to damage lives, but it's okay to go out and basically invite harm like that. I mean, it's
a psychological phenomena here. We have individuals who are suffering. They're suffering, SJWs are suffering from a psychological damage in which
it's called stupidity.
Well, it's called self-hatred. They hate themselves and they need to destroy themselves, but they can't admit that. So they have to injure others. So
I'm
that
not
there's
sure if it's that or
retaliation.
if it's that they see themselves as so much better, and it's this holier than thou thing that they feel like they have the power and they have the moral authority to do things like this.
That's the smoke screen. So they never have to admit to themselves that they are lesser than. It's the smoke screen that they never have to admit that they're cruel people. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a loop. You have to look at the precision of the loop in which they lie to themselves consistently to validate their behavior, no matter how vicious and violent it can become.
Well, so we've got Black Sand in chat. He says the police said that there was a knife stabbing of a girlfriend. That's pretty bad.
That's very bad. Yeah.
And then people are bringing up. I'm not going to make any accusations. I'm not going to say any names because who knows who did this. But I mean, I have to say, Mark Lombardi has been, and this is again with the rhetoric. He has been relentlessly attacking Alterna Comics and specifically Peter Simeti because of differences in opinion, and Peter's unwilling to bend the knee to his political ideology. And I've heard, you see it on Twitter all the time, but also I've heard Mark Lombardi, and I think it was just last week, he was on a podcast talking about how he believes he's fighting some good fight. And this is the kind of consequences, real life consequences that happen when you say that somebody is, a white supremacist, or, some of the language that he's been using, which is crazy because Peter Simeti is, he's half Chinese.
He's a person of color. All right. But they have to justify their behavior. Again, you have to look at the constant justification, the rationalization, so that they can avoid their own guilt.
Yeah, and they make up the thing, and then who's the crazy person that goes through and makes the phone call? I don't care who it is. I still feel like if you're constantly calling somebody something they're not, and in making it justifiable to punch Nazis, and then it only takes a slightly crazy person to connect the dots. Oh, you think Peter Simeti's a Nazi? It's okay to punch Nazis. Well, in that case, why not call the police over? And
well, it's more than that. It's a suspension of belief, because in order to validate your ability or to rationalize that it's a righteous thing to do to cause injury to a person of color while you're contradictory and hypocritically attempting to protect people of color, you have to have a complete suspension of logic.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
because immediately these two things would come crashing together, and you would have like an NPC breakdown.
Right. Yeah, we've got. I'm curious. Anybody in chat? Were you watching Peter? I know he was streaming. I didn't get a chance.
Well, I was just going to say at Herbert Comics, if he's listening to this, I'd be great. I could ask him to come on. I think he was on the stream, and he was saying that Peter had a guest on. He heard a knock on the door. He got up.
Print.
I'm sorry.
Second Print, they were on there. Yeah.
Oh, Second Print.
I says he got up and left the stream going. You could hear the cops come in and say, "Did you call 911?" He said no. They exchanged info, and that was it. So either went on off the stream or something else happened.
He's lucky in a way if someone swatted him that way, that they called in a knife stabbing and not a shooting. If they would have called in a shooting, I mean that's when people die. I mean, just to be honest.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
somebody's dog died from that not long ago, right?
Yeah,
wasn't that a thing?
Yeah, you could kill somebody with a flashbang if it went off close enough. I don't know in this case. There's very little information. Peter didn't say anything about that kind of an incident. I don't know if the police broke in or if they. I'm hoping. I know we've got some people in the chat that may have seen Peter's stream. I don't know how much you could hear or see. Somebody said that you could hear, but you couldn't see. So I'm not sure.
I wrote him to see if he's okay. I mean, that's the thing in here. I know we cover a lot of subjects and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure, this, when people get to this point where they're just so fucking crazy that they want to do this, that they want to harm people, you gotta you got to ask them. You got to, you got to say, hey, where's the line? Where do you finally stop and just question yourself and say, reality check.
And what are the lengths that we're able to go to actually, legally defend ourselves when there are people doing this?
No, there is no line for them. So you can't interpret that there's a line. The reality is you have to bring in a third party that is more powerful, has the law behind them, and can bring in a judgment that they can't dispute. I mean, they'll yell and freak out, but we do still have the Constitution. We do still have the law.
Yeah. So we've got Rez in the chat. He says, I was on the stream. He answered the door and came back. He showed the police officers card they left with him. So I'm assuming his ID card. And I saw somebody else say in chat that he has given the police department his address. And now that's smart. I think ahead of time, definitely for Peter, if you knew something like this is a possibility, having your local police department informed.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done it, because sooner or later, it's not you can't trust these people. I mean, anybody that's out there, you contact, they'll still come to your door, but because they're obliged to it, but at least they won't come in, hopefully guns blazing.
Right.
Clint, if you want Hermit Comics in here, you could send him a link and he could come in and explain to you exactly what he heard.
Let me take a look. Do you have his Twitter handle?
It's at Hermit Comics. He told me he was listening to the stream right now, and I think maybe if you bring him, we get first-hand information.
I'm gonna track him down.
For the record, it would take an absolute psychotic person to ever put forth a SWAT on Peter Simeti being the greatest guy in comics right now, as far as I'm concerned. What a nightmare. This is crazy.
Nicest dude ever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
but haven't you ever noticed it's always the nicest dudes, because they see them and they recognize them as easily victimized, and they also know that good people don't fight back.
They see them as soft targets.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna fight for Peter.
Well, yeah, then that's someone who's saying in the stream, what can we do for Peter? I'm sure we can ask him. I think a big thing is this is unacceptable. This has to go out. People have to know about this. And I feel like people like Mark Lombardi should know that there are consequences there's real life consequences to calling people Nazis. Not all I'm saying is that he should know that this happened. And I mean, I wish he didn't have me blocked on Twitter. I'd love to ask him if he thinks this is acceptable. Maybe to cool down the rhetoric a little bit.
Well, everyone who's participating in this thinks it's acceptable. So the reality is that we need to prepare for this.
Yeah. They also know the consequences. That's the thing too. They know the kind of damage that this can cause. It's discussed. It's part of our societal lexicon. Punch that Nazi. So yeah, I mean, we all know what these folks are capable of, and oh my gosh, it's just it's awful that it happens to a guy like that.
Yeah, I gotta say, Hermit Comics. I've just followed Hermit Comics. They're not following me, so I can't send them a DM. So follow me, or Luke, if you have.
I'm going to work on it right now, mate.
Great, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, this is way over the top. This is I think there's something fun about the little, I don't know, the sort of back and forth that happens with YouTube, or with if we go back to what Scott was saying on Ethan's stream, that it's so WWE. There's like a point where it's it's fine. It can even be fun sometimes. This is beyond that, way beyond that. Some people can't separate reality from Twitter, unfortunately.
We have definitely crossed that threshold here. You're absolutely right. And it's not just that some people can't sort this out from Twitter. Oh, some people are insane. Some people are just simply crazy, and they take it to Twitter, and that's the problem, where normal people can actually, like yourself, Clint, can use Twitter in an acceptable way.
Sure.
and some people cannot.
Yeah.
I think more and more it's become acceptable though to damage and destroy. Like we've been looking at an anime, for example, whether you fall on a pro or con side about what's going on. We're seeing people go out and brigade to destroy a person's life, to call them a sexual offender and on. I mean, it's just casual. It's so casual that there's something wrong.
They're so willing to nonchalantly destroy people's livelihoods, destroy people's careers, just because of some ridiculous difference of opinion.
It's not nonchalantly. They enjoy it. It's a thrill.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're thirsty for the conflict. And as things, I don't know, like we've had a fantastic week already for Comicsgate. Books are getting delivered. Jawbreakers has been delivered. I put out a tweet about this earlier. It's been a really, really great week. Doug TenNaples' book did a fantastic. And so it's like they run out of one avenue to attack, and so then they're just going to go a totally different avenue, go below the belt. I don't see what the benefit here is in attacking someone like, especially someone like Peter. I mean, of all the people.
The benefit is a dopamine hit. The benefit is status. The benefit is them driving home their point and destroying. You have to remember, destruction is a dopamine hit. That is their form of creation.
Sure. They want you to know you're not safe. We know how to get to you.
Right.
Yeah.
They do. They want you to be afraid because they want to inhibit and control. Control is a massive issue here. But more importantly, it's them validating their actions. In every villain's mind, they are the hero.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, we've got in chat, Papa Kenisu says, Peter's not even Comicsgate. See, and this is the thing. If you're, as long as you're not towing the line of their crazy political ideology, you're against them. If you're not with them, you're against them. And I know I've had this discussion a lot with several people, but at the end of the day, Peter's a super stand-up guy. He's just trying to make comics. That's all he's trying to do. Publish comics and treat his fans well, which is, I mean, that's what Comicsgate has wanted. But that's, of course, not good enough.
Well, the reality is that if you're CG, you're safer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're going after the middle ground, I guess, where I don't know if they think that's where they can make progress or something. I don't know.
They'll always choose the weak target, the soft target.
Yeah. So we've got Andrew in the chat. Second Andrew, welcome. Oh, possibly.
I sent the Hangout link to Hermit, and I hope he comes in.
Yeah, I see his icon, but.
Oh, yeah? Oh, there he is. Hermit, welcome. We can't hear him, but he is here.
Well, hopefully he'll get that worked out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Love to. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear that. But it does worry me too, because when instances like this happen, it seems like it gives people ideas. It's usually not just one kind of incident like this that happens. Mm-hmm. So I do worry. What's the next one?
Well, the point is that if this is successful, there will be another one.
What do we do to make sure this is not successful?
Well, how do they? What we're doing right now. Yeah, what we're doing right now is getting the knowledge of it out, getting the event out, getting as many ears and eyes on the situation. Hello? Oh, hello,
hey, Hermit.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so. Fill us in a little bit. Were you watching Peter's stream, or were you in it?
Yeah, I was watching the stream, like I do most of you guys' stream. I just just watching, and he was talking to a comic book shop owner. I have him on Twitter. I can't recall his name right now, but all of a sudden he hears a knock on the door, and he excuses himself. And but he leaves the camera and the microphone on, so you can hear everything that's going on faintly, but you can hear it. And so I just hear the cops say, "Did you call 911?" and then Peter says no. And I believe Peter also asked him, "Are you sure you got the right address?" And then I couldn't hear what the cops was saying, but that's pretty much all I heard. And when he came back on, he showed the camera like the police had left him the business card, and that was it. He also said, Peter also said that he was going to follow up with the police, see who exactly made that call.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
You got one of these people, they need to basically be hung up by their toenails. Yeah, that's a DMI on Twitter, by the way. Second Prince, I think that's who was on there with him. I'm pretty sure. I like that guy. I've actually done business with him. He's got a shop. You know, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I buy all of my back issues from Second Prince that I can't find at my local comic shop. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you just joining the chat, welcome. Yes, Peter Simeti did get swatted during a live stream just earlier tonight. Unfortunately, I was really writing the title quick, and I wrote Peter Simeti swatter ? Yeah, I'm gonna correct that. Yes, that's what went down. It appears that Peter is doing fine. He's okay. What we're, I think, at this point concerned about is who did this. I mean, there needs to be repercussions from the law. The police, I'm hoping, can track down who put the call in.
Yeah, Peter also mentioned that the cops there was 2 officers, each of them pointing a gun at him. But luckily that Peter said that they were very professional, and they were asking him, talking to him before, anything escalated. And I did hear the police officers, they were apologizing repeatedly. They were apologizing because they saw nothing was going on there.
I want you to think about this. They're the crowd that tell you that people of color are not safe from police officers. Now, the people who believe that fervently just sent police officers to someone's home, and they sent it to Peter Simeti's home. So that I think is a statement in and of itself too.
Well, they use hypocrisy to its greatest degree. It's a weapon for them, right? They can take an alternate stance at any moment by utilizing hypocrisy.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It doesn't make sense if you're against them. Again, it doesn't matter what you look like. Nothing else matters. If you don't agree with them, then they're going to come after you.
I don't think it has anything to. Well, I just don't think it has anything to do with Comicsgate anymore. Like when you look at these folks, it doesn't. Comicsgate is irrelevant. It just gives them a target because they need targets. They need targets for their virtue, and they're always looking for another target.
Yeah, Tug's absolutely right. I mean, the individual or the circumstances are irrelevant. It's a necessity, like any heroin addict, to feed their psychosis. Whoever they choose as a target is oftentimes irrelevant. And we become a target because we're Comicsgate, and they're very grateful for that. But it could very well be anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm really glad that the police acted, and I believe most of the time police are professional, and they treat situations like that extremely seriously. And I think that this sounds like an example of that. And yeah, I mean, so I'm glad that they did that. This isn't one of the horror stories, but this is still too far because it could have gone. Anytime you've got someone pointing a gun at somebody, that something could go wrong for sure.
Well, fortunately, Peter has a certain demeanor. So when a police officer is very well trained in determining people's demeanors, their stances, the manner in which, obviously they carry themselves or they speak. And Peter's, he's well educated and he knows how to speak to, especially when the police come to his door.
Right.
Yeah, he sounded very calm when he entered the door.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And I've been in situations where people have been called to the event, and the opposition from myself has always been frantic and irate, and I'm like, hey guys, can you please diffuse this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and because it's always been with kind of me being a bouncer at a bar or something like that in my youth, you know, and I'm like, hey, we need to take care of these people, you know, and it's always, you know, so, you know, props to him, of course, but I mean, that's just the nature of someone who's a normal person, to be honest with you, you know?
Yeah. We've got Scott in the chat. He says, sounds like this is a lucky incident, but this is what we are facing and we need to be on guard. Scott's somebody I really need to get in a live stream sometime. He's super knowledgeable and making a comic as well. But yeah, this is exactly right. I'm glad it went well, but we need to be on guard. To me personally, this is a good reminder. I mean, I've got small kids at home. I think I'm going to be calling my local police station really soon, just to make sure, like, or find out what their protocol is. But
well, it's very important for you to secure your house. It's important for you to have exterior lighting. It's very important for you to make certain that you don't have particular types of weapons or anything in your house that could be misconstrued as something that could be used as a weapon, and that when you answer the door, you're prepared and your demeanor is, you know, sublime and respectful, and they will immediately assess you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely things you can do on your side.
This in the chat, this is fantastic. Edwin Boyette has said, think about how no one at Marvel or DC has called for professional behavior or repudiated violence. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, especially something like this, what we brought up earlier. Peter's never said that he's Comicsgate. He's just trying to do his own thing.
He just wants to sell to everyone.
Right. Comicsgate is not the group of people trying to sending, you know, a police to his house. We're not the ones forcing him to align himself. It's the anti side, which a lot of this is absolutely, you know, it's streaming out of the mainstream comics industry. It's disgusting.
Well, I think Jean-Luc said it perfectly earlier. At least I think it was him. You know, they don't differentiate if you're not saying, "Hey, I'm not with these guys," you know, or "I am with these guys." If you're saying, I'm gonna try and be cool with everyone," no, you're still evil.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You have to bow down.
If you're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah, if you don't bow down in defeat and you don't subliminate your own life and your own agenda to theirs, then you become the enemy. And if you're
walking lockstep.
Right, and if you're not in CG, well, then where are you? You're too easily attacked.
Yeah,
you know, it's.
Oh, go ahead.
It's sad that this day and age kind of perpetuates that, where I just feel like so often people have this mentality that if you're not for us, then you're against us, when that's not the way the world works. No. If you're for something, then goodness, stand for it. And if you're against something, just simply stand against it. But that's the reality of the world, you know?
I'm curious. I'm relatively new to Comicsgate, really. Has anything like this happened in the past? Has there been a swatting, or is this the first time surrounding Comicsgate that it's happened?
I know it's happened before.
Yeah, who was it? Ian Miles Chung?
Well, there was the attempt by Late Night Comics, and you know, he's an idiot, but he was actually trying to dox, and you know, he's crazy anyway. We've had a lot of dox attempts. We've had a lot of craziness like that. I don't know of any actual swatting that I can think of, but I hate to say that and be wrong about it. Peter Simeti said he's okay, though. I got to hold him for a minute. So
I think
I just want to make sure.
The closest thing would be Jeremy from the Quartering. It's not Comicsgate direct, but it is SJW NPC. You know, they physically assaulted the guy.
Right. This is still the same culture war that's been spilling out into everything. Let's see. Rez says Ben Henderson and the Brightwisers had to cancel some con visits due to threats. Well, that's true. It didn't. Mike Miller, he was kicked out of a Comic-Con. Different, but still, this is where real life is affected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's these people. I mean, they want to deplatform. It's the same thing. You talk about a Lombardi out there. Again, I'm not trying to connect him with this event, but you know, those people, they bring up like, you know, your 5-year-old kid 5 or 6 times. You know, that is the language of intimidation. You know, that's not trying to have a conversation. That's actually, you know, the more I think about it, not really just gaslighting. That is the language of, you know, them trying to say, you know, we know you, you know, and it's trying to put you in your place. And this kind of stuff is
it's a pure threat. It's a pure unadulterated threat.
Right. Yeah, they want to make you afraid. Like, this is the consequence for being a public person that doesn't toe the line in comics, right? So now other people are going, you know, this is why people are so afraid of doxing, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons. I mean, Tug, you've had your place of business called, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. There's
you know, but you know, thankfully I've not had an armed person come to my house yet, you know, and that's see, that's the thing. I mean, the what if. That's actually why, you know, people have been like, oh, why haven't all your information been dumped yet? I think it's all a threat. I think one day it will happen. I just, you know, it's all a game. These people make a game out of threatening you, and that's like he was saying before. You know, it's to feed that sickness inside of them. It's
definitely,
it's sad, man. It's all over comics. You know,
it's immensely disturbing for it to be about something so small as this. Narwhal Books in the chat says the same thing that all of you guys are talking about. Martina Marcota had her bank account shut down, and that's absolutely the kind of things that these crazy people are pushing to silence anyone with the wrong think.
But you have to remember, it's always the small things. They're not running out of their minds going to try to save homeless people or Asian sex slave trades. They're fixated on things that they can easily conquer, not things that they can't win at. So it's always, again, soft targets, hurt people that won't fight back.
Yes.
Yeah. We've got Donald in the chat. Looks like he's muted, but welcome, Donald. When you're, I don't know. Oh,
yeah. What's going on?
Hey, Donald, did you hear about this? Peter Simeti getting swatted?
Yeah, I just logged on, and it was like the first thing I saw.
It's nuts. Yeah,
very nuts.
I mean, it seems like they go in waves. They'll take turns, pick new targets. Donald, I've seen, maybe not so much this week, maybe it was last week, you've had mobs of people like swatting, but I don't know, what has your experience been like?
Sorry, you cut out there. I heard you had mobs of blank swatting.
The SJWs on you on Twitter.
It comes and goes, and like you said, it's in waves. I'll say something that's not even remotely controversial, and I'll get dogpiled for it.
Right. Well, and then I don't know. It's different. Like today, you had, I don't know if you saw. Oh gosh, and I forget.
But it's definitely not like swatting. Holy crap! No, not even close.
Right. We had Greg Caputo said something on Twitter that was I think a little silly about Trump.
Donald was actually the first. He actually pointed that out. He was like, I wonder what happened here, you know. And
yeah.
Then, luckily, somebody else he pulled it up. He pulled that down really fast. So did he get blowback for that? And then to go like ape, you know, did he go crazy? Is that what happened?
He from what I saw of the tweets, he like, I didn't see the actual tweet that he posted. That's why I was asking what happened, but it looked like he got blowback from a couple people immediately. Like, you know, you have those people that see a tweet the second it's posted. Like, he got from a couple people and then took it down, and he was claiming it was a DM. I don't know how that's supposed to look like a DM.
Wow.
That just looked like he was quote tweeting something to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he got called on it from somebody.
How would that be a DM? I you know, he basically posted that message, you know, that was talking about Trump. It had a picture, and then it said, you know, profanity, basically.
Right.
You can claim something as a typo, but when the letter A is across the keyboard from the letter, you know, Z, it's a little difficult to say that was a typo. You know, That was kind of had to be
well,
kind of
I
intentional.
meant to send it as a DM. Like how exactly did that happen?
Because the retweet button is on the other side of the phone screen from the button you have to press in order to get to send tweet as DM.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But again, I mean, if you say something silly on Twitter, or you say, something rude or offensive or whatever, people can go on and tell you, that you're stupid or you're wrong.
Yeah, but they don't like that idea. See, that's what Ron March was going crazy about. He actually finally blocked me after I told him, this wasn't his, his personal paradise. I could tell him whatever I wanted, because he was like, why are there so many assholes coming into my tweets? Like, because it's not your personal paradise. Jesus.
Yeah.
This isn't your home. It's a public platform.
Right. Rainbolt in the chat says SJWs are being very, very quiet right now. That's right. I want to know, what does SJW Spider-Man have to say about this swatting? I think he should come out against violence. Same with Remfamous.
That's the thing. We're Nazis, right? It doesn't matter. As soon as you label somebody that's why they have the whole punch a Nazi thing. It's okay. This is all okay in their mind.
Absolutely.
They're not going to come out against that.
Yeah, they're not.
These assholes want this to happen.
Yeah.
Well, but the process here, the process that you have to remember is, before you're getting swatted, you're getting doxxed. And this is why Indicron went full CG, because we had these threats from particular individuals who claimed that they were going to dox individuals.
That's right.
Recall
That's
that?
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Indicron took this I took this extremely seriously, because you get doxed, you potentially get swatted. One leads to the other, and I often believe that's the purpose of one.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious about something regarding swatting. Like, how does the person making the call not get in trouble for it? It's a felony to make to falsify police reports, right?
Yeah. They do if they get caught, and they usually can.
They can.
How can you file a police report and not have to give your name or something? Like, if you call and say this person has a woman tied up in their basement, or this person has like a kilo of drugs in their house and all the firearms in the world, how can you make that report and not give your name and address?
They do it from fake accounts. They do it from fake calling accounts on the internet. I've had a couple of buddies of mine that have they've been involved in trolling in the past, and they've told me, yes, that's absolutely exactly how they do it. They've been swatted, is what they said, and they said it's just totally normal. And I'm like, I can't live my life like that. How can you people be trolls? That's so weird.
Godiva says in chat, they use VPNs and spoof phones.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly that. Yep.
Now, the one thing you've got to be careful in all of this is saying, I want this person to unequivocally denounce, because that is
right.
I don't want people. I mean, that is what their side would call for. I see people as individuals. You're not responsible for other people. So,
yeah,
I mean, I get the idea. That's what they would tell us we need to do. Oh my God, Martina, she's a, you're all Nazis because, it's the same thought process.
And it's quixotic to even expect them again to come out against this anyway.
No, they won't. It just, to me, it underlines the hypocrisy, though. If you're really against, they're calling words violence, and if they were really against it, to me personally, I would have no problem. And again, I'm not going to hold anybody's feet to the fire that they need to denounce or else. But it does, to me, it underlines the hypocrisy coming from a lot of those crazy trolls. Yeah,
I think we have to stop using the term hypocrisy, because it denotes in a fact that you're dealing with someone who has some sort of intelligence in which you can debate and show them the hypocrisy. That's not credible in this instance. You're dealing with a psychological manifestation of disturbance of an individual who has no ability to perceive hypocrisy.
Right. Man, I'm not choosing my words correctly tonight. But
I apologize.
You're good. I am my blood is running because I just heard about this. I consider Peter Simeti a friend. It deeply bothers me when I hear something about this, and it's so shocking that of all the people, and I really think it's because he's just trying to do his own thing. He hasn't picked a side, so to speak.
Well, because he's a kind-hearted person, right? You realize that.
And he's a businessman.
When you look it up, you know the guy who got
he wants money from everyone.
Well, you know the guy who got bike locked in the head by Antifa. You know, he wasn't a guy on one side or the other. He was the guy in the middle saying, "Hey, you know, I'm just trying to do my own thing." And bam, you know,
he was the softest target.
I remember that. Yeah, that's absolutely what happened. And you know, it's fascinating to think that Peter could be pushed to one side or another, because that's not our goal as Comicsgate. To do that. I do not want that from people. Here's what I want. I just want everyone to approach each other in a professional manner and just be cool. Hey, be like Fonzie. You know, I don't care what Eric Esquivel said. He doesn't like Fonzie. I do. Everybody be cool. Be like Fonzie. That's it. It's that simple.
This reminds me of...
How could you not? I would never trust someone who says they don't like the Fonz.
Thank you. Well said.
That's like saying, I don't know. Somebody tells me they don't like coffee, immediately I'm like,
that's like saying
suspect.
Pineapple pizza is bad. It's not bad, Donald. It's not bad.
It is the devil, and I'm pretty sure you are affiliated with Antifa.
Well, and you know, so this reminds me of the live stream, the big debate live stream on Ethan's show. They had Scott there, and you know, let me think. Doug was trying to convince him, like, you belong with us. And and it's because Doug he's just a kind-hearted, loving person. But the reality is, I don't care if you don't want, you know, we're not trying to convert people to Comicsgate. I want people to buy the books for sure.
They created Comicsgate. It wasn't like there were two sides in the beginning. You had comic fans that were tired of things. They had been ignored. They managed to be silenced, you know, and people said, yeah, enough of it. And we basically had this thing that was created out of anger, and it became more. Well, you know, we didn't create a side. And what they're doing there is Peter Simeti, I would imagine inside Peter Simeti knows that there is a problem. After these people went and tried to burn his life down, he can pretty much know, you know, who was there and who wasn't. I mean, he said, hey, I appreciate those people coming to my aid, you know, the Comicsgaters that did. So
yeah,
he's not going to ever declare publicly that he is or isn't anything, but he knows who's standing on his side and who's trying to burn people's lives down.
Right. Sure. And I think that's something he was already cognizant of, right, when they were attacking him in the first place.
Yeah.
And he knew that, you know, our side, Comicsgate, was going to have his back.
Yeah.
He just wants to make comics. We just want to read good comics.
Yeah. And we're perfectly happy to live and let live.
But it's become much more than that at this point.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
It's frightening is what it is. It's this landscape is frightening as hell. You know, I mean, really, like they went after someone like a Peter Simeti. I mean, think about that. Like, what would they do to a louder, brasher person, like a Yellow Flash or maybe an Ethan? I mean, what would they do? That's why.
Or to an Umbrella Guy.
Yeah, not Umbrella Guy. He's a nice dude. Never. Now the Umbrella Guy, he's an asshole. But
it all depends on their numbers. If they feel that they're secure in their numbers and in the situation, they would take almost anyone on.
It feels like possibly that, I don't know, from my perspective, maybe I'm hopeful here, but it feels like the death throes of anti-Comicsgate. Things have all of those little things that they had problems with, Jawbreakers getting finished, you know, being a sustainable business model. I really feel like that fundraiser last night proved that Comicsgate's here to stay. It's only growing.
Yeah, Doug's project jumped up almost another 50K.
We just insane. Yeah,
we don't care about them anymore. That's the most telling thing. We operate. Yeah. We may bring them up, but we don't try to convince them or anything else. We mock them, and that's got to be so infuriating because we don't care anymore.
Yeah, we don't need them for anything. I mean, the whole process, Comicsgate's got figured out. It's only getting better. But yeah, I do wonder though if they're seeing the success and you know, people are getting desperate. Perhaps
I think it's something that's going to wax and wane. I think it's something that will get worse once Cyberfog comes out and a lot of these bigger books actually ship, and people have them in their hands, and they're excited about it, and they're tweeting about it, and they're Instagramming, and whatever the hell the other kids are doing now online, they're doing, and you know, being all jacked about it. And then just wait until 2020.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
wait until election year. That's when
you want to know when it's going to get worse. When Rainbow Brute launches and that campaign makes over $1 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's set to, and it's bound to. That's the bottom line.
You know, it's really going to say it
themselves.
When that umbrella guy launches his comic and says, "Fuck you, Scott Kurtz."
That's what
I like that.
That's right.
I like that a lot.
Oh man, that made me.
I'm actually in the
so
process
angry.
of uploading a video regarding that that live stream right now.
Man, that guy, man, I tell you, I mean, rude. I was
messaging you. I said, how can people not see that this was the problem? You were representative of us, the consumers, the comics fans, non-pros, and he was just totally shutting you down. You don't matter. Who the F are you?
But you're ascribing humanistic traits to inhuman beings.
They're not human. You're right.
So we need to bypass that and realize this is an economics war. And when they can't feed themselves or live anywhere anymore, we win.
You know what though? I think about it. These are humans. They should be held to the same standards that every other human being on this earth is. And
that would be fine if they weren't playing by a different set of rules.
Right. And I totally get where you guys are going. They're acting absolutely insane. But I mean, there needs to be legal consequences to falsifying, a police call. Someone in the chat, I missed it here. They said, I'm really upset about this. Yeah. Every time something like this happens, I'm upset too. And I wonder, the best thing we can do is show support, I think, publicly to PETA and Alterna Comics. I know I'm going to be on Twitter saying kind things. I don't know. Peter, I think, needs to feel the support there.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a nice, down-to-earth guy on Twitter, and he even hopped into Comic Girl Ava and her husband were doing a little live stream earlier today, and he hopped in on there, and he was kind of a celebrity. He was like, I didn't mean to take any attention away from you guys. I'm sorry, and just being all humble.
Oh, yeah, he's great. Go ahead, Gateway.
I just got to throw this out there right now. I never once in my life, and I cannot, I can't perceive of this being a thing happening in the future. Every single title that Alterna puts out, it's on my pull list, and it always will be. I only have 2 other titles, one Marvel and one DC. Actually, I have one Image title that I'm thinking about putting on it, but that's it. Yeah. And so from there, that can just tell you how loyal I am and how loyal. Gosh, I just urge you guys, check his stuff out. It's worth it. It's fantastic. You will not regret it. It's amazing. The price value is above and beyond anything that you're buying right now. Support Alterna Comics. That is my plug. The guy's incredible. All of his artists and writers are awesome. So check it out.
That's probably the best thing that we can do about this situation too. Just make him that much more successful.
Right. Mudman in the chat says, oh, well, I guess I'll have to buy Alterna Comics again and give Peter another record-breaking year.
That's right.
That's right.
Alterna Comics are a great supplement to your diet as a Comicsgate comic book reader. You've got these great crowdfunding campaigns that are always on IndieCron. Great place to find them. But what do you do in between? I think Alterna is a great way to fill that need.
Agreed.
And Gateway said it best. I mean, I have 2, maybe 3 DC titles. I dropped a couple over the last couple of months, and I have 1 Marvel title. I read Spider-Man. That's it.
Yeah.
Danny Agent 87 says all Gamergate personalities like Logan and Skults, I don't know who Skults is, are trying to be relevant again, and they think Comicsgate and Animegate as their next shot at fame.
I think maybe he meant S. Kurtz.
S. Kurtz. Oh, could be.
First time.
Yeah.
He's trying to turn it back. He's trying to turn it into Gamersgate.
We're not Gamersgate. Gamergate is a very different thing. And the majority of people that are involved in the head of Gamergate, and I hate to say it, I like some of these personalities. They're trolls and they're jerks, and we're not, and that's the bottom line.
Right. Well, this is a change. This is going to be a historic change for comics. I mean, if you think about the founding of Image Comics, I think about that as like a historical thing for comics. Comicsgate is absolutely historical, and the fact that it's been moving forward in a way that it is, this online ecosystem that's happened around comics, this really is something special that cannot be denied. They're recognizing it.
Well, I look at the I look at the founding of Image, you know, with Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, and all those guys. I look at that as kind of the original kind of Comicsgate, but it was creator focused, right? It was them feeling dissed by Marvel, feeling dissed by the big companies, and saying, you know what, to hell with it, we're going to do our own thing. And now it's reached a boiling point and a tipping point to where there's kind of a meeting of the minds between a handful of creators and us, the consumers, and saying, we deserve something different. We want something different. Let's make something different.
Well, the Image scenario is the fact that Image was absorbed by the big two. So I don't personally see that as anything credible. You know, for decades, indie comics has tried to break away from the middleman, break away from Diamond, and that's what Comicsgate is doing. That's the point, that we're resetting the paradigm.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same. And hello, Eric Weathers in the chat. He's my fantastic letterer. Welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like this is a landmark. Things, they're not going back to how they used to be.
No, they can't.
Hey, I gotta bounce, guys. I'll see you all later. I had a few minutes. I overstayed actually, but it was fun. I appreciate it.
Take care, Todd.
Really appreciate it.
Soberfrog says in the chat, Peter's story is still on Alterna's YouTube channel. The video is called State of Alterna, 29 minutes in. Bring a box of Kleenex.
Wow.
Yeah. I've seen that stream. Right. That's from
Crazy Talk. I apologize. I've got to head out as well. Just right after him. Sorry, guys. Great talking to y'all. I've got to be up at 3:30 in the morning. I know that's crazy, but talk to y'all soon. Yeah, no, it's bad. I'll see y'all soon. Great talking to y'all.
Right. I show up and everybody leaves.
Later, Donald.
You killed the stream, man.
Well, now, Donald, we get to hear a little bit more from you.
Hey, I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, too funny, man. We've got 202 people watching right now. I think this is a Sweetcast record. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, one of the funny things about them comparing Comicsgate to Gamergate, because I followed that pretty closely when that was going on. They're two completely different things as far as why they started and how they kind of followed through on it. And Gamergate honestly failed. Nothing changed. If anything, the state of the video game industry is worse, which is funny.
Well, and they don't have control.
Creators, right, were really a part of it. It was all kind of fans and maybe critics on YouTube and things like that. But it was no one that could actually enact any kind of change, no real change.
That's why creators in Comicsgate are so important and so valuable and so part of the process. You know,
and anti-Comicsgate knows that, and that's why they go after them so hard.
And that's why they try to push the critics into saying, well, Comicsgate is critics only, and etc. Various things in that fabled debate with Ethan and a variety of so-called critics. But, you know, we have creators, we're pushing the agenda, we're building a new paradigm for comics, and we're selling it on a new paradigm. This is what's going to change the situation and allow us to win the economic war.
Right. And I got to say to Scott, who is in the chat, I sent you the link if you're interested in dropping in. That'll be great to have you here. Yeah, Eric says comics is the perfect medium to fight back against the tide. I agree. It's such a unique opportunity because comics are something that, I mean, yeah, they're a lot of hard work. They're difficult to make, but they're relatively inexpensive if you compare it to making your own video games that can compete. Whereas in Comicsgate, we can actually make comics that compete.
Yeah, but the most important thing here is that we want to understand we're winning on this front, right? So the next front that we need to dominate when we get comics out there is to move into Hollywood and sell our IPs. If we can sell our IPs, then get ready for a real war, because it's going to be millions of dollars involved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got
I'll leave
Douglas.
that to y'all.
There you go. Douglas Ernst in the chat. Hey, Douglas, great to see you there. Great chat, man. He says, "Hey, Douglas, you want in? I don't know if you're busy, but we'll tag you in too if you're interested." Donald, I'm curious for you because you've worked. I mean, so you've got books or a book published through Image, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Have you ever worked for Marvel or DC?
No.
So I'm imagining a slightly different game, really. But how does it compare, do you think, working on a Comicsgate book versus working for Image? I'm just curious.
There's a lot of differences. Working with Image, you have access to their PR team. They can help you out. They can set up interviews and things like that, and get review copies out to websites. So they can do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and they definitely do all the behind the scenes stuff that deals with printing the comic. And they have a production designer that helps you put the book together. So you're really just in charge of like whatever your task is: drawing, writing, coloring the book, that stuff, and promotion, making sure that your book sells. Those are your two big things, and Image helps you along with the rest of the stuff, and they'll help you along with the promotion, but they definitely take a hand in the printing. So it's a lot different on that aspect, because for Comicsgate books, you have to find your own printer, and you have to set up the book yourself or hire somebody to set it up for you. You're definitely doing all aspects involved in making a comic, 100% involved. Right. Whereas with Image, you're maybe 80% involved.
Okay. I imagine it's even less so probably for the big two.
Yeah, for the big two, yeah. You're a lot less involved. If your job is to draw the book, you draw the book. If your job is to write the book, you write the book. You don't even have to promote it. I mean, if you want to make sales, obviously you're going to want to promote it, but look at a lot of these people that work for Marvel or DC. They tell you not to buy their book.
Yeah. Well, and I think so. A lot of the promotion stuff. Now I'm comparing here, but a lot of the promotion stuff with live streams like this, I think it is definitely helping. More press, it's helping. We've got Douglas Ernst is in the chat. Hello, Douglas. Welcome.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, man. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a while since I don't know. It feels like a long time. It's probably been like a month, I guess, since we had a live stream together. So
yeah, time's flying.
Yeah, it is. Man, so did you hear, I don't know how long you're in the chat, but about Peter Simeti getting swatted on all this craziness?
Yeah, no, I was just speaking with him before I came over here. So yeah, he's pretty shaken up, man. So just glad he's safe and sound. This is insane.
Yeah, this is definitely way beyond the pale. I don't know.
These people would rather destroy the industry and risk an innocent man's life than let us just do our own thing.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, and I feel like lately we've been doing so much of our own thing. There's been so much progress. There's more books coming out this year, like a lot more books. I don't know. It really feels like it worries them.
Well, that's another one of those super annoying things, right? We were complaining about the way that things were, or essentially still are, in the comic industry. And they're like, well, deal with it or go make your own. Okay, we'll go make our own. Hey, we don't like that you're making your own. What?
Right. Yeah. It's like like Mark Waid said after his whole tantrum with Jawbreakers, let the baby have his bottle. Speaking of Jawbreakers, yeah, it's not up to them. It's not their decision. They don't get to decide what books we make and what books we don't buy.
Well, like, it's interesting to me because it shows that whether you're some innocuous sort of chill dude like, Peter, or you're more of a firebrand, it doesn't matter who you are. The fact that you just disagree with them, they will try to destroy you, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange that they're going after. I don't know if they perceive it as low-hanging fruit, or I don't get it. They're not going after, they're not getting some of the bigger guys or some of the more inflammatory guys swatted. You don't see, I don't know. It's crazy.
A small pack of wolves has the option of going after a weakened doe instead of a freaking elk. They're going to go after the doe.
Well, they went after Peter previously. You recall that, and they attempted to go after Ethan, and they get swatted. So obviously, they're going to go after something that they feel as if they can attain some sort of goal.
Yeah. I'm going to address something real quick. Lorenzo in the chat is bringing up, I guess, comparisons with Gamergate, and Comicsgate. I didn't follow Gamergate a lot. From my understanding, it had to do with ethics in gaming journalism, whereas Comicsgate has to do with how the consumers are treated and politics being crammed into books. So I do think they're different. Correct. Yeah, they're different. I wouldn't say that I'm bad mouthing Gamergate as a movement. I just think it's a very different thing than Comicsgate. I don't know. Probably people on this panel know much more than I do, but I just wanted to make my position clear.
Well, I think there's overlap to some extent because the comics media, they have sort of exacerbated all of these problems by rewarding bad behavior over the years. So there is an element of the ethics in journalism, but yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison for sure.
Right. Yeah, and I guess the things I was referring to more, like when we were talking about Gamersgate and some of the like swatting and things like that. My understanding, it was anti-Gamergate that was perpetrating some of the swatting. So again, I don't know all the details, so I'm not trying to badmouth Gamergate. I'm just saying, I don't know, like this is a different front in the culture war, so to speak.
Well, yeah, they're very different beasts, and within the context of Comicsgate, we're able to take action far faster, quicker, and more effectively. Whereas Gamersgate, it was very difficult for them to do so, and so obviously we're winning at this point. We have a great advantage.
Yeah, this is a battle we actually can win. I mean, because the comic industry is, I mean, they're presiding over the death of the comics industry right now. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a different kind of battle, though it is definitely based in social justice politics for sure.
The thing is, they know that the genie can't be put back into the bottle because Comicsgate proved that there is another way, that you don't need to be beholden to all of these sort of corrupted institutions or whatever. And so like they're terrified because they could see the writing on the wall, and like someone was saying, whoever came up with the wolf pack sort of thing, they're just going to go after everyone. They're like in their death throes, and they're just like lashing out at whoever. So it's like one day you're going to get yours one day. Everybody like on this panel, if you just wait long enough, somebody will come after you in some bizarre, strange way.
Right. Yeah. Man. And yeah, it's getting insane. I keep thinking, is it going to calm down? Like eventually, are things going to lose steam, and what are we going to be left with? I feel really confident as to what we're going to be left with, which is a new business model and new fans and that kind of stuff. We already have our building our own infrastructure, but every time it feels like it's dying down, something like this happens and it just flares right back up again.
Well, it's going to keep moving. It's going to keep flaring, especially as we move into selling comics this season, right?
Yeah, that's right. Again, there's so many books coming out. I don't know, comparative to, I think I've asked you this question, Luke, but you might have a better, or like a new expounded idea now, but how many more books this year do you think they're going to be compared to last year?
Wow. I mean, I think it might even, a rough estimate would be a 5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. There's so many coming out. I've got one. I just submitted it to IndieCron. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was looking through IndieCron today. Mm-hmm. Lots of great books. I'm excited for, and I know that there's more that aren't even posted yet.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you know, individuals such as us are going to move out into the normies, and we're going to bring normies into Indicron. We're going to bring them into CG, and we're going to open up whole new audiences. Can you imagine what they're going to do then?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, and I talked with Tug a little bit about this, but all this stuff with anime that's been happening the past couple weeks, every single one of us, if you make a video on it, here's a tip: if you make a video on Vic, I was going to say his last name wrong, you'll tap into a whole new audience, and my subscribers have been growing a lot just based off of the 2 videos I did on it.
Yeah, the doctor and I are going to do a Vic video in a day or 2.
Yeah, I'm planning one for this weekend because I'm actually a longtime fan of his. I haven't been in the anime scene for quite some time. Like, jumped back into it just to watch the movie that he was just a voice actor in, the new Dragon Ball Super movie, which was phenomenal. Yeah. And like, it really, really ticks me off because I've never met him at a con or anything, but I've never heard anything but good things about the guy.
Well, I've met him a few times, and he's just a sterling individual. He's very kind-hearted. I mean, he's a Christian. I mean, these allegations seem completely and utterly beyond belief.
Right. And at the very least, due process. And this is the same thing when Eric Esquivel had his, the accusations came out against him. Called for due process.
Innocent until proven guilty, but now it's guilty until proven innocent. And even then, once the accusation has been made against you, the accusation in and of itself is damning. You don't recover from accusations like that, or at least I've yet to see someone do so. Every single time you hear about someone who's a journalist or an actor or actress or politician, whatever it is, get accused of these, their life is forever changed because people just see the accusation. They either don't see, hear, or care about the proof of innocence.
Well, because you have to look at the context. If you're working in Hollywood, okay, it's a very, very small type of jar that you're in with all these people. So once they start accusing you, everyone comes into an agreement to never hire you again. You're finished.
Yeah.
And then it haunts you through things like the Google searches and the YouTube searches. And even with Peter now, there's going to be videos on him being swatted. And anytime people search Alterna, that's going to be like the #1 thing that comes up instead of comic books. And it's like bizarre because it's like he'll want to move on, but now this will always be a reminder for him because anytime he's Googled, it's there. And it's like these people, it's like the pebble in the pond, or I guess like a boulder in the pond, and all the ripples will just keep going on and on forever. And it's just they're ghoulish individuals.
Wow, that's true. That kind of makes me think like I'll be deleting. I've been trying to delete most of my live streams anyway, just because they're bad for the channel growth. But yeah, that's another point. Is you talk about it and it reflects again, and yeah, pretty soon the news cycle on the internet it takes over. Then exactly, it's linked with his branding.
And then a lot of times when they have the corrections, if they even do the correction, it's like they'll run it on like the bottom of the website, or it's not even on the landing page. It's like some little story that they bury just to say that technically they made a correction or something.
Yeah, and like 4.5 font.
Right.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just you have to change the past. In order to change the past, you have to win the war. You win the war, and it changes the context of everything that came before.
Yeah. Now I want to Google myself and see what.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Rule 34.
But the other thing that terrifies them about Comicsgate is that there's actually a stable of creators that want criticism, constructive criticism, and then they respond to the criticism. They learn from their mistakes. Whereas the SJWs, they just dig in and they'll double and triple and quadruple down. And so it's like almost, I don't want to say a foregone conclusion that it's going to be fine, but as long as you have these intelligent, smart individuals that are like, okay, I made a mistake. I don't want to repeat that mistake again. How do I course correct? And if you just keep course correcting, you're going to be fine. And they know that deep down. And I think it just enrages them because for whatever reason, they're in denial about their own shortcomings.
Well, they think I think they think they're perfect. And you have Zach, you know, a guy like your boy Zach making statements on his videos like, hey, when you get this book, tell me what you think. Like legitimately tell me your sincere thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like? So that on the next one, I can make it more to your liking. And then with Ethan's book, Cyberfrog, people were so jacked about some of the pieces that they'd seen of Salamandroid, Cyberfrog's kind of buddy, his partner. That Ethan was like, all right, you know what? Just because you guys like him so much, I'm going to do some more pages and have a bigger focus on Salamandroid in the book.
Well, they don't think that they're making a product is the problem. They think they're elite artistes that producing some fine art. They see their books as more craft.
It certainly looks like modern art or Picasso.
As opposed to commercialism, even when they're basically working on, 22-page ads for movies.
Retrographics in the chat says, Peter's videos are dangerous because they teach you everything you needed to self-publish. That might be a good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've had probably a couple of people in the chat say this. Paulus Mobus said, Sweetcast, make a channel for streams, basically to archive them. That's a good idea. I've been making them private or saving them elsewhere. So I haven't been completely deleting them. But that's probably a good idea. I might look into that and try it out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try and get into contact with Peter once I'm finished writing a script that I'm working on.
Yeah,
you can always take clips from the stream and turn them into like little 2 or 3 minute videos.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah, I think that's the best route. I'm going to use that route as well.
Yeah. Well, I now I'm thinking about it. I got to put together a video for tomorrow. I hope it sounds like Peter, he's okay, shooken up. I hope that he does well. And I think I know for myself, and probably the best thing that we can do is show Peter some support. I know he's got a lot of people that love Peter. So I think that's a great thing to do, but I think I will probably end off the chat here unless anybody else has anything else to say.
I just want to place a bet. I think that SJWs are going to say he faked it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I wouldn't put it past them, honestly. Just like they were saying that the threats against Ethan and his wife were faked.
Yeah, because they've said before he does this pity party thing where he says, "Oh, the SJWs are attacking me, but nobody's really attacking me. So please buy my comics."
Yeah.
When we can all see that they're all attacking him.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to stand for that. It's obvious. And that's something that's easily verifiable too, I think, with the police, if we really wanted to go that route.
Plus, he apparently has footage of it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's very important not to underestimate doxing, to protect yourself and to realize that doxing can lead to other situations.
Right. Yeah. Protect yourself. Do some, I don't know, plan ahead of time. I know this has been a wake up call for me. I'm gonna try to prepare a little bit better, because there are crazy people out there that find reasons to hate you.
Yeah, it's like he literally could have died. If say he's a Second Amendment guy, he's got a gun, in his room or something. He thinks he hears commotion in his house. He doesn't expect it to be cops breaking in. He thinks it's a robber, and all of a sudden these guys with guns burst in. He reaches for his gun and he's dead. And it's like they literally risked the guy's life over a disagreement on comic books and politics. And it's like, you guys are psycho.
Yep.
Yeah, over something so infinitesimal. It's disgusting, really.
Yeah. When Tug got doxxed, I said that things were going to escalate. They were not going to stop, and things have escalated. Now they've moved on to swatting, and it's not going to stop until somebody actually gets hurt. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep. This has gone way too far. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Show Peter your support. And I really hope that whoever did this gets the repercussions from the law.
I hope the full weight of the law comes down on their ass.
Yep. Yeah, this has got to stop. So thanks, everyone. I think we're going to close off the stream now. And we'll see you next time. I think I'm going to try doing more of these live streams. So We'll see you later.
Cheers, mates.